snake. Looks like it just yeah, sexy. You can see this snake, the trail of blood from it's got hit in that lane and it's just writhed around in pain and slithered along to here until it's died. That is pretty sad. We've got a decent drive ahead of us today, but later this afternoon we're going to be at our first main herp destination for the trip. There's a heap of species that we want to see. I'll throw a list up now of what we want to see, but without a doubt Thorny Devil is the highest on the list. We're just at the accommodation now and we don't want to waste any time because we want to get straight out and look for thornies, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to head straight there now. We'll come back once we get out there this afternoon or if we find anything on the way. All right, after 2 days of driving, we have finally made it to the road that we're going to be hitting hard while we're in southern SA. Weather's great outside, it's 35. So it's not ideal right now for things to be out, but over the next couple of hours as it starts to cool off and head into the evening, hopefully some reptiles will be on the move. There's a crested dragon on the road in front of us, I guarantee. Oh, didn't even get out of the car. Oh. Okay, yeah, I just got fed. I had absolutely no chance of catching that one. I was getting a video of Sandy. Little Sandy. It's hot, but reptiles are still out. Straight after the Sandy, have a look at this. Another bicycle dragon. God damn, I want to photograph one of these. And I forgot to bring my telephoto lens, which I planned on taking photos of these in situ for. So we're gonna have to try and creep up on one to get some good shots. There's a malleefowl on the track. Oh, no way. That malleefowl disappeared, but holy shit. Sitting under the shade on the road in 37 degrees. I just saw this weird bug crawling across the road. That is the sickest looking beetle I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure. Monitor tracks. Goes all the way across the road. You can see the little printy sort of things there. So I was just looking at this crested dragon here and look at this. Fresh, bigger lapid tracks going over our last tyre tracks. We literally drove this like 10 minutes ago. Driving around all Arvo with no luck so far except for a few bits and bobs. The malleefowl was cool, but we didn't get the thorny and we didn't get a good look at a crested dragon. So yeah, we're gonna head back into town, grab some more water and hit a different area on Dusk, and then we're gonna come back out to this area, try and find the stellatus, the knobtail gecko we wanted to see, a shovel-nosed snake, and yeah, and then we'll be back out at the thornies tomorrow. First find of the night is a little southern spiny-tailed gecko, Stropherus intermedius. The inside of his mouth's bright blue as well, and I don't know how well the phone will pick it up, but he's got like some sick eyelashes. Beautiful geckos. We're right next to the highway and we're in a rush to get out to the spot before the temps start to cool off, so we're going to keep things brief with this guy, but reptiles are out. Alright, so we pulled up to spotlight the spinifex because the temperatures have dropped heaps and it didn't take long. We pulled up to this clump of spinifex we eyed out today for good habitat, and then there's a good look at our first target we've ticked off for the trip, Nephrurus stellatus, starred knob-tailed gecko. This is such a stunning gecko. This is probably one of the prettiest Nephrurus I've ever seen. In typical Nephrurus fashion, he's out tonight on a freezing, well, yeah, not warm night out in the spinifex habitat of the mallee. Yeah, this is a stunning gecko, and he's got a really, like, small little knob tail in comparison to some of the others like Levis. His tail's really small, but yeah, he's got these beautiful purple back patterns with these yellowish spots along his back and those yellow eyelids. It is such a nice looking gecko, and His eye shine stood out so well. These are one of 9 species in the genus. I think this is only the 4th species from the genus that I've personally seen. It's great to finally get a target. We're pretty wrecked after having pretty much driven all day today. After we got to this area, we've been road cruising non-stop. So we're honestly probably going to call it now, start cruising back now that we've got our main target, so that we can get up early tomorrow and hit it hard for the Thornies. But yeah, we'll check in if we get something else on the way out, and if not, that's a pretty good way to start and end the night. All right, here we are again the following morning, round 2 for Thorny Devils. It's going to be a lot hotter today than it was yesterday as well, so it'll be interesting to see if that's going to spice up the devil activity, and if not, we'll be back out here again this afternoon. We had a real slow morning with only a few crested dragons that disappeared as per usual, so we decided to head back and come back out in the early afternoon so that we could hit it hard then. En route to the habitat we wanted to hit that afternoon, we found something pretty special crossing the road in front of us. We got a Thorny! No way! Oh my god! Oh my god, look at that! No way! That is stunning! The Thorny Devil, Moloch horridus, one of the craziest looking reptiles in Australia, and this is like one of the most iconic Australian reptiles. It was such a sick sight to be driving along in the other. It's 38 degrees now, and just seeing this little Thorny Devil scampering across the road. It's the sight we've been dreaming of over the past couple of days, and it's finally paid off. The pressure's off now. Oh my god. The yellows on her are so nice, and this is also probably the biggest Thorny that I've seen. This morning we're focusing on one particular strip of habitat we liked, and it wasn't producing, so we went back, we did some other stuff for a little while, and we haven't even got to that bit of habitat we were going to hit for them this afternoon. And yeah, we also thought we were a bit early, but yeah, 38 degrees, mid-afternoon, this beautiful Thorny is out on the road. As you can see, all these ants that are crawling along the ground here, that's what they'll be eating. They feed exclusively on ants. They'll eat hundreds of ants a day. And they've also got that lump on the back of their head that acts as a second head, so when they get threatened, they'll put their head down and that lump sort of replicates another head, which will protect them from predators. But the spikes also will deter a lot of predators. Anything that has a go at one of these will quickly regret it when they get a mouthful of spikes. Being a gamete that lives in Outback Australia, they love a little bit of heat. And when a lot of lizards aren't active, and a lot of other reptiles like the snakes and stuff, it's like almost 40 degrees. It's too hot for a lot of snakes and stuff like that. But yeah, the Thorny Devils and the monitors are still out. And another crazy thing about Thornies is the way they walk. They do this super weird, like shuffly sort of walk. Like as soon as we saw that on the road, we instantly knew that we were looking at a Thorny. But again, it's another thing that makes Thornies so unique. Like no other lizard does this weird little shuffle walk, and I'm not sure why they do it. But I was out last week in Central Australia, and I found a tiny little one, but I wasn't making a video, so it's great to be able to get one on video as well. And next stop for this trip will be taipans, which I also found last week but wasn't filming, so fingers crossed we can turn up an inland taipan this trip. But yeah, it's been a pretty good start. There's been some pretty sick lizards, like that gecko last night, the crested dragons, and the Thorny Devil. Those are the 3 main targets here. We're going to send this little Thorny Devil on his way, and yeah, see if we can turn up another one. How good. Alright, so we saw this dragon run across the road, and we weren't sure. I thought this was another bicycle dragon, but it turns out that this is a Norris's dragon, or a mallee tree dragon, Amphibolurus norrisi, which is a new species for me, and it's a pretty sick one. It's clearly gravid. She's heavily gravid. I would love to photograph her because it's my first one, but being a heavily gravid female, we don't want to stress her out or handle her, and hopefully we can turn up another one. But yeah, that is sick. It's a stunning dragon. How good. Always got to make time to flip some tin while we're out here, even though it's 38 degrees and there's not going to be anything underneath. It's cool to have a massive Thorny Devil. Driving along the Savi, look at this. They're out. The snakes are definitely out of it. Judging by that size, it's probably a small mulga or a small strap-snouted brown snake. Yeah, that's cool. That's a good sign. We've got some lizard burrows here. This whole this whole bank is just covered in these lizard burrows, probably from Lyophilus inornata, the desert skinks, which is what we're hoping to see tonight as well, or just in a couple of hours once it starts to get dark. But yeah, we're gonna keep cruising around now and see if we can turn up that snake. That belly fell number 3. Oh my god. That is insane. We've got this little crested dragon. Ctenophorus cristatus. This one, the only car that's driven through all day, just nicked him the tiniest bit. He has the tiniest bit of blood on his mouth, but nothing substantial. He's going to be more than fine. I just plopped him on that rock in a nice pose so that he can run off when he's ready. We're going to leave him there. He's more than fine, probably just a little bit shaken up. But it's cool to get a close-up look at one. It's a shame he's been hit, but it's also good that he's not going to die and those injuries aren't too severe. But we're going to leave this one to it. I would love to photograph him in this pose and everything, but I'm not going to add to the stress of him being run over. We'll just keep looking, and there's plenty more to find. And as I ended that video, he ran off like nothing had happened. Look at him go. That's great. Sun's starting to go down. Temperatures are holding so well tonight. It's a lot warmer than it was this time yesterday. As soon as the sun went down last night, it was cold, really. But it's still above 30 right now, so fingers crossed we can turn up Strappy tonight and a desert skink. All right, we haven't even fully got dark yet. It did not take long for the first target of the night to show up. That is the desert skink, Lyophilus inornata. One of my favorite things about coming to the Mallee is finding these lizards. These things are so cool. This is like, I just love the Lyophilus genus as a whole. And these desert Lyophilus are so sick. Kintori, striata, and inornata are all so good. This is just a little guy. If there's a size reference there. They get probably double, maybe triple this size. I've seen them like an adult white skink. So for anyone who doesn't know, that's like 15 centimeters snout to vent, a fully grown one. But yeah, this one's in great nick. No marks on it. Original tail. Such a cool lizard. They live in the burrows along the roadside. So I took a video earlier today showing those burrows. That would have been what these lizards dig in, and they generally hang out in colonies. So you'll get several inornata hanging out in an area. But yeah, this little young guy was pretty bald. He was on the move on the roadside out here. Generally, they sort of start sticking their heads out of the burrows in the afternoon. Then once the sun goes down, they get a bit more bold, a bit more comfortable, and they start, you know, venturing further from the burrows. I freaking love these lizards. How good. All right, now that we've done that lizard, ticked off pretty early, dusk, it's prime time for an elapid. So we're gonna quickly make the most of this, drive a bit quicker, see what's on the road, see if we can get a big elapid crossing. Alright, so the next find of the night is a young Lucasium domaeum beaded gecko. This is the first one of the species we've seen for the trip. They're usually quite common out in these sandy areas out in arid New South Wales and South Australia. I sort of take these for granted because of how common they are, but this is a really nice looking individual as well, probably because it's a bit younger. He burrows into the soil and they live in the sandy little lizard burrows. So a lot of those burrows that we were seeing today will be from several different terrestrial geckos, as well as the monitors, the dragons. Heaps of the lizards out here in the Mallee use those burrows, as well as the snakes too, to be honest. But we're gonna leave him be. We still haven't got fully dark yet. The temperatures are dropping rapidly, but we're gonna keep at it and hopefully we'll be able to produce something good soon.
That's why I didn't touch it.
Baby mulga snake, that's the first one of the night. All right, we finally, it took a little while to get the situation under control because it's a horrible size, but we have a beautiful hatchling mulga snake. This thing is not large at all. This is a tiny little youngster. His colours are so vibrant. And Amber the Weapon spotted him on foot in the Spinifex. I released that gecko and I was on my phone just looking at some records on iNaturalist to see what other bits and bobs have been recorded around here. And she just starts screaming at me, and she said she was calling out for ages. I only just heard her and ran over as this snake was heading towards a large clump of Spinifex, and we would have lost it. So very lucky. Well, this is the first snake of the trip as well. It's always a good night when you see a mulga snake. I've never seen one in South Australia before either, and this clean little guy is absolutely stunning. I'll be taking some photos of this little weapon for sure. And he's doing this thing that a lot of defensive mulgas do where they gape their jaw. They flatten that neck and gape their jaw. I'm trying to tell you to bugger off. It's cool. You can see their fangs when they do it. And yeah, pretty exciting. Like us, mulgas are common as. They're easy to find. And I don't know, I still always get excited when I see them. But we're going to keep going because these bugs are doing my head in and I'm about to scream. Before we decide to do a U-turn and start heading back tonight, we're going to quickly shine some Spinifex. I'd like to see one more Stellatus tonight. This is the same patch of spinny that we got the Stellatus last night. So yeah, we'll see if we can turn one up. Have a go at the size of these ants. These things are retardedly big. And they're just like running at my feet. That is a good sight. Amber, come look at this. Southern shovel-nosed snake.
Oh, good spot.
Oh my god, I thought it was barbed wire. Alright, we're having a little look at this beautiful southern shovel-nosed snake. Brachiophorus semifasciatus. This is it really is not coming through on the camera at all, but it's got some really nice orangish coloration with some, and just the contrast between the black bands. It almost looks like Colette's coloured, sort of. Beautiful little snake. And yeah, I was pretty excited to get this one tonight because, yeah, new species for me that I haven't seen in the area. But yeah, this is one of 8 in the genus of small fossorial elapids. They burrow in through the soil, and they've got that shovel nose that enables them to just dig right in and under the smooth sand and the loose soil substrate. They typically feed on lizards and stuff. Weakly venomous, but they don't bite. Amber the gun has spotted the Stellatus for tonight at the same spot as last night. She's carrying the team tonight, really. We just headbutted a Spinifex clump. Starred knobtail gecko. I didn't get to say last night. I reckon this is, I've only seen 4 from the Nymphaeus genus, but I think this is the most beautiful that I've seen so far, this species. This one isn't as nice as the animal we saw last night, but still, they are a stunning gecko. It's hard not to love those big beady eyes. Lusty as we got a little mulga on the way out. Hell yeah. Oh my god, there's a cloud of dust. Little mulga snake out tonight. Motoring along the road. Yeah, it is warm. The temps are holding quite well warm. Look at the colours when he flares out. That is a beautiful little mulga snake. God, I love him. We're gonna make sure this little guy gets off the road, and we're gonna, yeah, not mess with him for too long. But I love the olive greenish sort of colour on these snakes. It'd be sick to find a nice big adult. We've moved away from the mallee habitat for this morning. Last night we decided that we want to head to this area with this sort of like saltbush sort of habitat to try and get that strap-snouted brown snake this morning. It is very warm, very fast because the temps didn't get too low last night. So we might only have a small window of snake activity. Hopefully we can get a few other things on the way. Shingleback here. Yeah, yeah, go grab him. I'll just pull up. This is pretty sick. Amber's first shingleback, Tiliqua rugosa. They are one of the most weird looking lizards. Related to the blue tongues, they're in the blue tongue genus. And they have probably the most common names out of any lizard, I reckon. People call them pine cones, stumpy lizards, sleepy lizards, bog eyes, shinglebacks, stumpies. It's just crazy, but they obviously can't run fast because they're fat little blobs. They've got that tail on the back that replicates another head for predators, but usually they just flare up and defend themselves. They open their mouth, flash that blue tongue. This guy's pretty chill, and he also looks like a bit of an old timer, to be honest. But they're generally quite gentle after a while. Luckily we got to him before this oversized load. We might have to keep moving and stay in front, but that's a cool way to start the day. We wanted to try somewhere a bit better for straps than a brown snake, so you can see we're not in the mallee anymore. We're in this open salt bush country. The dead mulga back there was a sign that the snakes are moving today though. So yeah, we're gonna keep moving. Hopefully we can turn up something else. Got a bearded dragon on the road here. Oh, that's a nice coloured one. Holy hell. That shingleback and the beardy was pretty much all we saw that morning, as well as a dead mulga snake. And that pretty much wrapped up that morning. I didn't film much over the next few days because we were doing some pitfall trapping, but then one morning we checked the traps and we saw something pretty exciting. So I had to check back in and show what we found in the pits. So I haven't checked in for a few days since we found that shingleback and had an unsuccessful search for Gillen's monitors, but today we've been really lucky and we've managed to find my first ever Gillen's monitor, or the pygmy mulga monitor, Venomous Gillen eye. And this is like probably the smallest monitor lizard that I've ever seen. They live in these big dead trees and they live under bark, and they're not easy to find, and it's not easy to find them without being destructive of their habitat. But thankfully we found this one just sitting on the edge of the bark, and we were able to get a good look at him without any concerns for disturbing the habitat or anything like that. And I've tried looking for these several times and I've never found one. So I am very excited. We don't want to spend heaps long with it and stress it out any more than we have taken pictures, so we're going to let it go. But that is very, very exciting. I'm stoked. Later on the same day, we also turned up a second Gillen's monitor, which was pretty exciting because I've spent a bit of time in the past looking for them unsuccessfully, and this larger adult sat nicely for some photos as well. I was pretty stoked with that. Alright, it's been a few days since those Gillen's monitors that I showed on the channel, and I was planning on ending the video there. And I'm sort of in this point between locations on the trip where I wasn't going to include anything or film anything from this part of the trip, but we found something pretty awesome. So this is what we found this afternoon on the highway. This absolutely beautiful sub-adult western, or young adult western blue tongue. It is one of the nicest looking blue tongues. This is my favorite species of blue tongue. And in this particular area, we're just below the NT border. They're not overly common, but this is only the second one I've ever seen in my life. The place we got the Gillens further south, they're meant to be common, and we were praying to see one over the past few days and we didn't. So they were in the back of our mind as something we could see on for the remainder of the trip. And yeah, today we've turned one up, which is so exciting. Amber's first western blue tongue. Yeah, this is like the coolest, like, oh my god, these are such a cool lizard, and they're one of, I think, 7 species in the Taliqua genus. But yeah, without a doubt, these are my favorites. They're just such a sick looking lizard. He's very alert. It is 34 degrees and he was crossing the road on this big storm front that's coming over. It's going to be great for all sorts of reptiles, so we're not going to be long with him. We're going to shoo him on his way off the highway and keep moving, because I think a few more reptiles will be out. But that is a sensational find, and it could be the last reptile of the video, but it's a very good way to end the video as well. How good is that?